Yo, what's up, guys? It's KB. Thanks for tuning in to another video here on the Outside the Box Podcast YouTube channel. If you like the content you're seeing from us here, be sure to smash that like button, click the bell icon so you don't miss out on any future videos, leave a comment down below, and don't forget, hit that subscribe button. And now let's get into another original video here on the Outside the Box Podcast YouTube channel. All right, emergency Outside the Box podcast. I don't even know if this will be numbered. It's just an emergency episode. We're recording this on a Monday night after we've gathered our thoughts and finished up our day jobs because there's a lot to dive into, but it was announced today, bright and early in the morning, Deej, that the Philadelphia Wings will be ceasing operations under the Comcast Spectacor ownership, which has been probably one of the worst kept secrets of this NLL season based on the rumor mill, based on just like the fact that fans knew that this was coming like months ago is kind of crazy. The Wings put out a statement. The NLL put out a statement. I'll get into all the personal stuff. I'll also be making a video of my own once I have like clearer thoughts on all of this, because this is an organization that means a lot to me. It means a lot to this company, because genuinely without the Wings returning, I don't know where, number one, this company would be. I don't know if this podcast exists. So we have a lot to like thank the Philadelphia Wings for that. And it's just a turbulently emotional thing for me because I've never had a franchise taken away from me. Being in what I like to call the greatest sports city in the world, obviously that's biased, but Deej, you can also vouch for this. Philadelphia is a fucking incredible sports city, having experienced a ton of stuff here, both franchise-wise and just, events-wise. So to see the Philadelphia Wings potentially leaving Philadelphia is, to say it's heartbreaking is the understatement of the century. To say I'm gutted is the understatement of the century. And to also say I'm confused is the understatement of the century, because these announcements conflict each other so much. I'm going to read the Wings announcement here that they posted at 9:52 a.m. The league announcement came at 9:50 a.m. This is from the Philadelphia Wings official social accounts. Following the 2025-2026 season, we have made the decision to cease operations of the Philadelphia Wings franchise under the Comcast Spectacor portfolio. I'm going to stop right there. The fact that you're just calling it the portfolio is the biggest slap in the face to the fans. Like, that's just, we're openly saying this was just an asset in our ownership portfolio, and we didn't value this team nearly enough like the fans valued it. So that rubbed me the wrong way there. This was not an easy conclusion to reach, and it is one we considered with great care. Since the Wings' reestablishment in 2017 and return to the turf in 2018, the team has proudly carried on Philadelphia's rich lacrosse tradition at the highest level. We hope you will join us in continuing to root for our players as they pursue new opportunities throughout the league. So that, to me, is like, okay, this team is done. Like, the dispersal draft is coming. Like, we're cooked. On behalf of our leadership team, players, and the countless others who have been impacted by the Wings franchise over the years, thank you. We truly could not have built this community without you. We recognize that this news may come as a disappointment, and we want to express how grateful we are for your steadfast dedication to the team. Your support has been central to the identity of the Wings and has meant more than we can express. Thank you sincerely for your passion, your commitment, and the community you help build around Wings Lacrosse. I will start with the Philadelphia Wings ownership and this whole thing. And I've kept my mouth shut on this for quite some time. But now that they are moving on, corporate companies should not be allowed to own sports teams. Plain and simple. Comcast owning the Wings and not treating it like with the care and the attention to detail that it deserved, full send, pretty much after COVID, after that canceled season, you could kind of feel just the downward trend of this team is an indictment on them as owners. You cannot be a successful like franchise unless you have an owner or an ownership group that fucking cares about the team. Plain and simple. Any sport, any level, I don't care if it's NFL, NBA, WNBA, NHL, MLB, NLL, PLL eventually when they get owners. PWHL, what have you. MLS, if your owner doesn't care, you're not going to be a successful franchise. Comcast Spectacor does not care. This is a business venture for them. It is just an asset for them. And it's why so many fans have called for them to sell the Flyers over the years, because they feel the same way about the Philadelphia Flyers and the direction of that team, which hopefully is turning a page. We'll see. It's disappointing to read that statement from the team. Comcast Spectacor failed the fan base, they failed the city of Philadelphia, they failed the National Lacrosse League, and they failed every single player on this roster, especially this season, with the way that things were handled. And, you know, I feel for the guys, first and foremost. Like, the players on this team deserve so much better up and down the roster, from Brendan O'Neill to Michael Sowers to Scott Dominey to Evan Messenger to Isaiah Davis-Allen to Nick Dimute, the whole roster. These guys deserve so much better. And it's like this year, like, as soon as the rumors started swirling that like this could be the final year, it felt different in the building this year than years past. You know, last year there was the rumors that it could happen, but it never really felt real. And this year just and the way the last couple of years have just been handled, like, you remember, DJ, I wasn't in a single press conference last year. And then this year it's just felt like a moratorium anytime we've been at the arena, like, for games. Like, it just feels like everyone's kind of operating on eggshells because they knew this news was coming. And it's just a flat out unmitigated disaster to have a market like Philadelphia come to this conclusion in the National Lacrosse League. The winningest franchise in terms of championships in the National Lacrosse League is now going to cease operations for a third time. Do you want me to read the NLL statement?
It's just so hard to speak.
Trust me, when I opened my phone, when I got a chance to escape at my day job today, I felt like Adam Schefter with the way my phone was blowing up. I had phone calls, tweets, text messages, DMs. I was like, what the fuck is happening? Statement from the NLL. National Lacrosse League begins strategic transition to position Wings franchise for long-term growth. The National Lacrosse League today announced that Comcast Spectacor will transition out of ownership of the Philadelphia Wings franchise following the 2025-2026 season. The league has already initiated a comprehensive process to identify the next ownership group and evaluate the strongest long-term market opportunity for the franchise. This transition represents a strategic step in aligning the club with an ownership group and an operating environment positioned to maximize its future potential. As part of this evolution, the league is prioritizing markets and venues that offer enhanced flexibility, fan engagement opportunities, and long-term growth alignment with the NLL's broader business trajectory. Brett Frood's statement, our priority is to position this franchise for sustained success and long-term value creation. We are actively engaging with prospective ownership groups who share our vision for growth, community impact, and competitive excellence. The league's momentum continues to build, and we are confident this transition will lead to an exciting new chapter for the franchise and its players. So very contradicting statements from team versus league and commissioner.
Well,
from the sense that the team statement, the big thing saying continuing to root for our players as they pursue new opportunities throughout the league, versus the league statement saying we're trying to find new owners for this team to continue existing.
well, that's still a new opportunity. I guess I guess I'm just looking at it like the language that they use is different, but they're basically saying the same things. Like the league is saying, hey, like they're no longer going to be the owners. We're already in the process of finding new owners. It may include moving them to a new place. It may include keeping them in that area. We're exercising all possible options to see what is best for not only this franchise, but how can this franchise align with where we are taking the league moving forward. The team is just like, hey, we're no longer being owned by these people. We don't know what our future is, but we are going to be rooting for these guys as they move forward.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, it's tough to be the team there and to put something out because it's so hard to formulate those words, especially when your release pretty much has to come after the league. So
yeah,
unless you say verbatim what the league says, you're kind of in a weird spot.
it also sucks that this announcement comes off the heels of a win. And I'm genuinely shocked that this didn't, repeat Lacrosse history 2.0 and get announced on April Fool's Day. I don't know, man. I feel for every fucking fan because as much as, I'm a credentialed media member, I'm a fan of this team. I want to see the Philadelphia Wings succeed. I want to see those players succeed. Those guys we consider, friends of the program. Like, we root for those guys. Brennan O'Neill has come on our show multiple times. Michael Sowers is our guy. When Blaze Reardon has been with this team, he's our guy. Joe Resiteritz has been on this show. Every single player that has put on a Wings uniform, I've rooted for because I want them to succeed. I want successful operations in the city of Philadelphia. And it's good for the league when a team in Philadelphia is good, like flat out. Whether you hate them or love them, that's a good thing for the league, is when you have a successful market being good. And obviously that hasn't happened over the past couple of years. We still have a couple games left, so I'm going to, bite my tongue on a couple of things, but reading the statements today when I first saw them, it was just like a pit in my stomach. Like, this franchise has done so much for us as a show, as people, as a company, that like I can't even begin to rattle everything off. And it all starts with Dana Jackson like giving us our first credential ever, with me, Alex McIntyre, and Brooke Destra like getting credentialed in 2018. And then just the growth we've had and starting in the NLL and kind of working backwards. I learned the sport, quote unquote, backwards for an American guy. I learned box lacrosse first, and then I learned the field game. I learned, from a bunch of very talented players who confided in this podcast and believed in us, whether it be Blaze Reardon, Mitch Jones, Joe Resiteritz, Matt Rambo, Trevor Baptiste. Like, we made those connections because of the Philadelphia Wings. Like, those guys trust in us because we were around the Wings franchise. And as soon as Deej comes on in 2021 and we don't have an NLL season and, we're working towards getting it back, it's like, hey, we have these connections. And it's like, Deej is in his glory. He's like, I grew up watching these players in college, and now we have a direct access point. And like, we felt this. We had connections with the New York Riptide. Like, we saw that team up and move. We saw the New England Black Wolves up and move to Albany, and we've seen them up and move to Oshawa now. We saw Panther City have a dispersal draft. Like, we saw the Rochester Nighthawks almost cease to exist this past offseason. That's not a good place for the NLL right now. That is a problem, and I understand part of it is the prior regime expanding too fast, what have you, however you want to discuss it. No matter how you slice and dice it, though, it's not a good look that since 2022, 2023, we've had multiple team relocations. We've had a dispersal of a team. We've had a team on the brink of not existing. And now the Philadelphia Wings are in limbo and potentially won't be the Philadelphia Wings moving forward, depending on where they move and if they decide to rebrand the team, what have you. It's just a bad look for the continuity of the National Lacrosse League. And that obviously starts with ownership and having competent owners. And Comcast Spectacor has never been a competent ownership group. They don't care about this team in particular, very obviously. And that's not saying everybody involved with Comcast Spectacor doesn't, but the powers that be do not care. And that's how a lot of people feel about the Philadelphia Flyers as well, that they just don't care. And it's sad. It's genuinely sad. Like, my mom is distraught. If my parents, their Friday night date nights back in the day were going to Wings games. Like, that was one of their to-do things back in the day with the Philadelphia Wings. Like, when our guy Chris Bates was playing, my parents were in the stands watching the Philadelphia Wings, getting coached by Tony Resch. And, that's where my Wings fandom started, and learning about the Wings was like through my parents. And then along comes the return of the Wings, and now I'm a credentialed media member with them, and I'm around the team all the time. And it's a huge part of this journey that I've been on, trying to turn a dream into a reality with Underground Industries, with Underground Sports Philadelphia, with OTB. A lot of the foundation is built on the back of the Philadelphia Wings returning. Like, genuinely, if I don't know where OTB would be had there not been a flood at the Palestra on the same night as the 2018 NLL draft. Dom was going to the blue and white Sixers scrimmage at the Palestra. It gets canceled because of a flood. Like, the roof was leaking, so they couldn't play. Dom and I end up both going to the NLL draft. I was going and by myself, but who knows how the interactions happen if Dom's not there and kind of like keying me in on who some of these guys are. Who knows if we meet Nick Sikevich and we do the first episode of OTB at the league office. Like, a lot of this is built on Lacrosse being in Philadelphia. That draft was in Philadelphia. Like, a lot of this company is built on Lacrosse being in Philadelphia, and the Wings being in limbo or potentially gone with this ownership group shuffling and all of that. It's a gut punch for us. Like, I've never experienced anything like this with a team. I've never had a team, thankfully, relocate or move on me or have a dispersal, and I'm thankful for that. And now I'm experiencing it, and holy shit, does it fucking suck! And I never would wish this on anybody. And it's not even that it's not even a major four team, but it's a team that means a lot to not only me but this company, to my family, and it's a sad day for Philadelphia sports, quite frankly. Like, the Wings are an institution. You don't have, you're not a nothing entity if you have banners and stuff hanging from the rafters of your arena. If you have retired player numbers hanging from the rafters in your arena that you're playing in, you're not a nothing burger of a franchise. And the Philadelphia Wings have retired numbers and championship banners hanging at Xfinity Mobile Arena. And it's just it's such an unfortunate thing. Obviously, the WNBA and allegedly the PWHL. I haven't heard anything about that, but I've heard people talking about that Philly's getting a PWHL team. I only saw when the new arena agreement coming in 2031 was that a WNBA team was part of that agreement. Even so, WNBA and NLL are in different seasons.
Yep.
So there wouldn't be overlap, and the only crossover would be if PWHL was happening, which I have not seen anything of that. It's just the fact that this is happening 5 years out from that arena even being constructed is crazy to me, and it just sucks. It's sad. I'm still kind of gathering my thoughts, and this is all just raw emotion. But to lose a top 4 market in the country where New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago don't have franchises, so Philadelphia is your number 1 in terms of market size in the United States, is disastrous, in my opinion, in terms of marketability. And that's the other thing. This team was not marketed well. And we have seen that time and time again with the New York Riptide, with Panther City, with the New England Black Wolves to the Albany Firewolves. Like, the marketability of this Philadelphia Wings team was through the roof for years. And it just felt like they put nothing into it to market this team.
I mean, I think that way about the league as a whole. Like, I don't think they do a great job of like marketing really any of the stars on any of the places. Like, I don't think they're out doing enough in the community, and like that's not completely the team or the league's fault based on like how it's set up. Like, a lot of those guys don't have the time or are in a position to be out and about more. But I think the ones that are in market, I think they can do a better job of getting them out. I think they can do a better job of setting up advertisement for these guys, better job of doing more on social media for the league to get it to where they will be able to have all those things. And then they will be in market and they will be able to be out more. It's a process, but I don't feel like they're going about the process the right way. And Philly, it's a little bit different with the league office being there. Like, that should be instant. Like, okay, one, Philly, you should be able to easily get content because they're right there. And then also, anytime people are coming in to play them is content because they're right there. Like, you have to take advantage of what's in front of you. Like, but I guess like they say the things that are right in front of you are the hardest to see. Like, maybe that had something to do with it too. Is like they didn't realize the opportunity they had to like really market certain players being in Philly and who they were, or the doing highlight series of guys coming in. Like, those things didn't cross their mind. And we know that creativity is only slowly starting to be accepted in the business world. So that also is part of this as well.
Yeah, I mean, the simple fact that as soon as Michael Sowers comes to the Philadelphia Wings and there's not like an expose on him playing in Philadelphia, being the face of Philadelphia lacrosse, is crazy to me. You want to talk about marketability? That's your guy. He's the king of Philadelphia. Matt Rambo's not playing in the NLL right now. He hasn't played in the NLL for quite some time. Grant Ament has never suited up in the NLL. Who has? Michael Sowers. Like, he's right there. He is in your backyard. Bring him to the league office and do a sit-down, Sunday conversation type thing that you see on Fox NFL Sunday or the NFL on CBS or like that is a swing and a miss if I've ever seen one. To not bring guys in when they're in market for games in Philly to the league office to do content is great. And I think that's the big thing. As you were saying that too, it kind of like jogged my mind. The NLL does not run their league like other sports leagues. They claim the next major league, but they're not running it like a content business. That your players are your that is your selling point. And in a sport in particular that those guys are wearing helmets and their faces are covered, you need to do 100x more to make them visible and make them marketable. Like, I always think back to the interview Devin Caney did with Lyle Thompson a few years ago and sat down with him and just like they drew together. Like, that is the type of stuff we are missing in the National Lacrosse League. The fact that we don't have that with guys in Philadelphia when the league office is here is mind-blowing to me. And we talked about on the last episode we did with Georgia going to NHL on TNT. That's smart. That's what you should do. And that is a huge win for Georgia. When you have your actual league's office here and you have nobody spotlighting the team in Philadelphia is crazy to me. And it's just a major whiff by Comcast. It's a major whiff by the NLL. I put some of that on Brett Frude. I don't put all of it because obviously he's got a gazillion things to do. But there should be somebody hired at the NLL doing this. There should be, a digital host working at the league office. Do it like that's their job. Like, I'm here to interview players and do creative stories to highlight these players. Look at the players across the league and tell me there's not at least 10 guys that you could easily market tomorrow, whether they're rookies, veterans, or in between. Like, the fact that the entire time Blaze Reardon was in Philadelphia and we didn't get an expose on him as the quote-unquote Shohei Ohtani of lacrosse. Sure, it's the field game and the box game, but that's a fucking story that you should highlight. And it's like, hey, he might be a goalie outdoors, but this guy's tearing it up as a forward indoors for us. Like, there's so much that they could have done with guys that have walked through the door and put on a Philadelphia Wings jersey. And, even on top, like, Kyle Jackson's had multiple stints here, and I'm using KJ as an example, but they could be doing this with other players too. But KJ's in your backyard. He's Native American. Why are you not doing a highlight story on him playing the Creators game in Philadelphia? There's just so many missed opportunities here for the league, so many missed opportunities on Comcast, and hindsight is obviously 2020, but you get two people. Like, we can sit here talking raw emotion about this, Deej, on a podcast and rattle off these ideas. How are these not brought up in boardroom meetings? When there's clear thought process. We're doing this at midnight and we're thinking of these ideas. So the fact that is possible between us, but that can't be done at a league office, is mind-blowing to me.
Maybe they should just pay us. But they ain't going to do that.
No.
And also don't want to put all of this on the current administration. Like, you brought up Brett Frude's name. Like, I just want to put that out there for everybody.
100%.
We're not putting this on just his administration. Like, this is a problem that's been going on since the NLL has been around. So
and this is not just a Wings problem either.
Right.
This is everything outside of Buffalo, Colorado, and the two teams owned by Joe Tsai, because Joe Tsai is willing to invest in the sport. So those two teams are going to have a presence in this league. And, Georgia is around because their owner cares. And They have somebody like Lyle Thompson. They have a Brett Dobson. Like they have Shane Jack. Like they have marketable players. Outside of that, it's, like the fact that we almost lost a historic institution that is the Rochester Nighthawks when we already lost them once because they moved to Halifax is an indictment on the league. Like that's an indictment on just the state of the National Lacrosse League, that you almost lost a historic franchise like the Rochester Nighthawks, and you're on the precipice right now potentially losing another historic franchise in the Philadelphia Wings.
Not a good look.
No. And I mean, like, we've talked about it all the time with just like, we joke it's the National Canadian Box Lacrosse League featuring Colorado, Georgia, upstate New York, San Diego, and Vegas. But like, you have 3 teams in a triangular radius in Ontario with Ottawa, Oshawa, and Toronto, who plays in Hamilton. You have Vancouver, Saskatchewan, Calgary. You have Halifax. Buffalo and Rochester are a hop, skip, and a jump to Canada. And then it's San Diego, Vegas, Georgia, Colorado, and the limbo that is the Wings. It's, I don't know if it's one of those things where like the NLL just has to have every team as close to or in Canada as possible, and it just be that. But there's so much that is infrastructurally wrong with the league from an outside perspective that leads to an announcement like today with the Philadelphia Wings.
Yeah, I don't know the answer. I don't have any of the answers. There's a lot of information I don't have to be able to make any of those answers, but come up with any of those answers. But I do think there are some very simple things that could have been done to avoid a lot of the situations over the last couple of years that have made the league look bad. And I can't imagine this is the first time some of this stuff has come up. It's just the first time I've known about it because it's the first time I've been around to know about it. So I that's the one thing is like the league has all the things to be great, all the tools to then boost all of that. Like, and what I mean by all the things to be great, like it has the action, it has the stars, it has the charismatic feel. Excuse me. It has the high scoring games. It also has, the low scoring defensive efforts that are there for like the hardcore fans. Now you just need like the marketing piece. You have to have highlights everywhere. You have to have information easily accessible. You have to have merch easily accessible. Like these are things
you
that
need
are
a linear
all,
TV deal that isn't just marketing your Canadian audience.
Yeah.
Which we've talked about from the jump.
All these things are just important to growing your league and maintaining that fan base. There's a reason that certain sports are where they are and have stayed there is because they make it easy for their fans to come back.
Yeah, and you give them a product, you give them an experience, and not that I'm trying to pit the NLL and PLL because you guys know we are a show that is pro both, but like you look at the marketing the PLL does of their players, of their teams, now that they're in markets, bringing those players into the markets and stuff like that. It just optically, and I think you'll agree with me on this, it's night and day outside of Buffalo and right now what Vegas has been doing with Vegas and integrating their players into that market. It's very evident like how night and day it is from a marketing standpoint. Marketing only. I'm not talking product on the floor, on the field. From a marketing standpoint only, the PLL is running circles around the NLL in terms of marketing their stars.
Which is funny because they're like the same stars for a lot of
Right.
cases. So like
75% of the guys that play in the PLL are playing in the NLL.
it's like, oh my god, maybe you should take a few of their ideas. And that can just be the jump start. Like use a couple of those things, then brainstorm from there to do your own stuff. Like that's how the world works. That's how trends exist. Somebody sees something, oh, they follow it, then they do their own thing. Like boom, just do that. It's not hard, but you're making it so much harder for yourself, which is really like kind of causing the league to backtrack.
Like you can only take your marketing so far with your 3 stars of the week and your power rankings and stuff like that. Like that's only going to go so far. But if you give me a 5-minute sit down expose on Lyle Thompson, on Tom Schreiber, on Keegan Ball, on players that don't get the spotlight, sit down with Jack Hanna and talk about him. A guy who's in market, who lives in Colorado and is now playing for his home market team. Same thing with Michael Sowers, that you missed that opportunity. Like, it's stuff
Williams,
like that. Dyson Williams. Right. Like, kudos to Adam Levy when they were filming the documentary on him. Brendan O'Neill, like, one of the most marketable players in terms of, like, how long he's been in the public spotlight. He was on the front of USA Lacrosse magazine as a teenager. And there's nothing about him following him being the number 1 pick and joining the number 1 pick club of both indoor and outdoor. Like, even a guy like Jeff Teat, man. Like, there's so many guys that you do just the extra mile and promote these guys to the masses. It makes your league better because now people can relate to your stars who are your product that you are trying to market. Your players are your product. Market them and the people will come. See Buffalo. See Colorado. See the successful teams in Canada, whether it be Saskatchewan, Vancouver, what have you. You market them, the people will come. You see the teams that have failed. New York, Panther City, Philadelphia in limbo right now. The marketing was not there. The people don't come. That's failure on ownership. That's failure on the league. It's not just a one-person thing in these scenarios. And, I tweeted it today, and I was genuinely pretty shocked with the engagement and interaction it got. I quote tweeted the NLL statement, and I said, I mean this sincerely as someone who has covered the team, who's covered the Philadelphia Wings since their return. I'd like to have you on at OTB Laxpod to talk about this whole thing. And I tagged Brett Fruit. The overwhelming interaction I got on this tweet was pretty impressive from some pretty powerful people across the board. Just fans of the pod, Philadelphia Wings fans, media people in the know. Like, I was like, okay, like, there's something to this that people want to hear, obviously, from Brett Fruit. And he's never been on our show. And, he tends to go on the old guard of NLL media, and by old guard, I mean the guys who have been doing this longer than us. Come speak to us who are in the whole populace of lacrosse, Deej. Our age demo, me and you in particular, is the age demo that lacrosse is trying to get a stranglehold on because they don't have it. Guess who has it? We do. Come talk to us and give us the lowdown. Maybe we're sounding ignorant to this whole thing. I highly doubt we're sounding completely ignorant to it because I've been around the team and I've seen things that are true. But as a commissioner, give me your point of view. Give Deej your point of view and try to get this 25 to 36-year-old age demo that all forms of lacrosse are trying to tap into.
And I mean, also a lot more makes sense to the people if you're able to make it make sense. I think
Right.
that's where the
People want
PLO
to
has
hear
started.
it.
Yeah, I think that's where the PLO has started to make some moves or some waves. Is like they'll make moves and then they'll get they'll do the state of the league, or they'll end up on a podcast or something and somebody will ask about it, and they won't directly say it, but they will put it in terms that people can take and then interpret and use to be like, oh, okay, this is what it was, this is why the decision was made, I can live with that or I can't live with that, and I'll be upset about it, but at least I have a reasoning. The NLL, we like never get a reasoning for anything. They just do. And I think that's where a lot of people are like, what's going on?
Yeah, it feels like they just kind of tiptoe and like, I mean, kudos to us that we've built a close enough relationship with Mike Rabel in particular, and he's willing to come on the show and just share with us. And it's a kudos to Dan Arestia, who has Paul on his show very frequently, and Paul's able to sit down for an hour and just kind of open up the curtain there. With commissioners, like, I don't know. It just feels like in the NLL in particular, and we had Sikevich on as our very first episode, and it felt like he was very transparent, but we never had him on again during his tenure. But it just feels like there's a towing the line almost of like what they're willing to say and put out there, which like you want your commissioners to be, because as much as commissioners are working for the owners, they're also kind of the mouthpiece for the fans in a sense. The commissioners in all the sports leagues, like, you're the talking head for the league. Like, you are out there to put information out there, whether it's Roger Goodell, Rob Manfred, Adam Silver, Gary Bettman. Like, you are the talking piece to relay information that's coming from your owners to your fan base and to your players. And it just feels like we don't get enough of that from Brett Frood, and we didn't really get enough of that from Nick Sikevich at the time either. And those are the two commissioners we've had in our time covering the NLL. But I don't know. There's still a lot of like words processing in my head about this with the Philadelphia Wings. I hope the stadium's packed out on April 11th for the final home game. I know Adam Levy's going to be there. If you're going to be at that game, hit me up, because I'd love to just like talk to every Wings fan, because this franchise means a lot to me, means a lot to my family, means a lot to this podcast, and I would love to like just sit and have conversations with people and share stories about this team and what it means to you, and highlight it and feature it on the show and feature it on social, because this is a fan base that has a lot of passionate fans. They are the loyal, loud, and proud for a reason. And if the Philadelphia Wings don't exist, the NLL is losing a massive, massive fan base.
Yeah, I don't know what to say, but
Yeah. It's one of those things where it like you say stuff and it's like, do I sound dumb like saying this? But that's like the ethos of raw emotion, and like just like the blindsidedness of it all. Um, we'll have more thoughts. I'm going to be doing a video once I kind of gather more thoughts, just laying out everything, and how I'm feeling. And we'll talk about it on Friday's show. But we felt it was apt to do an emergency episode here, which will drop in the morning on Tuesday. OTB College show will drop probably 6 o'clock Eastern time on Tuesday. So those will both be in your feed. But yeah, sad day in Philadelphia sports. And hopefully we get more answers. Hopefully we get a little more clarity on where things are sitting. But just a gut punch if I've ever had one when it comes to sports fandom, when it comes to things we cover at this company, and a franchise that means a lot to all of us with the Philadelphia Wings. So thanks for tuning in to an emergency OTB. Follow us at OTB Lax Pod, subscribe, and if you're a Wings fan, leave us a voicemail, speakpipe.com/OTB Lax Pod. We will play the voicemails on the podcast on Friday. So leave us a voicemail, speakpipe.com/OTB Lax Pod. And we'll talk to you all on Friday. Thanks for tuning into an emergency OTB. Peace.
Peace.